Today, we're reviewing Eddie Murphy's new movie, The Pickup, so let's talk about it. I think that this is a movie that really suits him. It's a throwback-type caper comedy, almost like something he would have done maybe in the 80s. Eddie plays a guy named Jimmy, and he asks this charmingly unlucky everyman, who gets swept up into a criminal operation after mistaking a pickup artist's briefcase for his own bag. When he tries to return the bag though, he ends up getting kidnapped, and now he is forced to team up with the very criminals he mistakenly stole from to try and get it back. Now this is a familiar scenario, but the way it's handled here is actually pretty entertaining. So, first of all, let me start by talking about the premise and setup, because at its core, this is a mistaken identity heist. And the thing that the movie does really well is it stays nimble with the setup. The plot moves quickly through all of these familiar genre staples. There's double crosses, there's counterfeit credentials, a tech-savvy sidekick, a no-nonsense antagonist, but none of it feels stale because it moves too quickly. And it's also aided by the fact that the movie parcels out information cleanly, so early setups pay off later. Nothing feels like it's there just for the sake of being there, and the same goes for the midpoint twist. The movie tells us a lot, but it never feels like it breaks the tone of the film. Everything that happens is building toward that final act, and even though we know we're heading toward a showdown, the movie still manages to surprise us. And again, that comes down to how tightly plotted this whole thing is. Like the movie doesn't spend any time indulging in fatuities, it never lingers on anything too long. It knows when to cut away, and that leads to a nice sense of forward momentum. You can feel the engine of the story pulsing beneath the surface, always keeping you engaged, always reminding you that you're watching a fast-paced thriller that's anchored by this central mystery. And then once the movie starts to unspool the answer, it's got a nice payoff. Also, I think the screenplay does a great job feeding Murphy material, like knowing when to let him go and riff, when to pull the reins. And it's all a perfect fit for his particular brand of comedic genius. I mean, that's what makes him such a legend. Really? It's that he has worked out all of these little quirks, these little mannerisms, these little tics that become such a big part of his persona. And the script here knows exactly what to give him. He is able to be the charismatic everyman caught in circumstances beyond his control, the guy who talks his way out of a locked room, or bluffs his way through a gala. He is the guy who realizes he has been framed, and now he has got to figure out a way to clear his name. And even when the stakes are high, he remains calm, cool, and collected. That's Eddie Murphy at his finest, and it's one of the reasons why this movie is such a blast. Like I said, it's not trying to reinvent the genre. It's trying to make you grin for 2 hours, and more often than not, it succeeds because it stays nimble, unpretentious, and laser-focused on Murphy's singular, elastic appeal. Next, let's talk about the supporting cast, because I thought everybody brought their A-game here. The romantic foil, my heart. She's great. She brings a warmth and friction that challenges Murphy's character to grow beyond quick fixes. And the best scenes in the film come from their interactions. They have wonderful chemistry together. And again, the writing is solid. The banter is playful rather than quippy for quirky's sake. A scene-stealing sidekick who plays a tech-savvy fixer. He handles exposition with a wink and scores several low-key laughers by puncturing the heist's self-importance, and the primary villain is calibrated cool, measured diction. Impeccable tailoring, a penchant for letting others do the dirty work until they don't, and when the mask slips, it's effective. I love the way they built him because even though the movie is Eddie Murphy's vehicle, it's aware of the importance of contrast, and that's what the supporting players bring. Even when characters are archetypal, they understand the assignment. Feed Murphy. Don't crowd him, and keep the energy up. The direction is clean and coverage forward. It prioritizes clarity over flourish. The movie keeps the camera moving, but it never distracts from the story, and that's a huge compliment to the director. The movie's strength is its plot and its characters, and the direction honors that. Look at the action sequences. For example, they favor legibility over flair. You can tell where everyone is, why they're moving, and how a gag is set up before it lands. Like there's a freeway swap sequence that is so immaculately staged and timed, it's a thing of beauty. Same goes for a hotel corridor shell game. It's precise, funny, and just tense enough. Then there's the cinematography, sleek and bright with a glossy, streaming-era polish. Night exteriors pop with neon and interiors flirt with noir framing without going door. Editing is snappy but not chaotic. Jokes get room to breathe, and the film resists the temptation to chop punchlines into confetti. Then there's the music. A groove-forward score that leans on bass and light percussion with needle drops that keep the caper buoyant without yanking focus. I mentioned this earlier, but the movie's humor sits squarely in Murphy's wheelhouse. Verbal misdirection, incredulous reaction shots, the occasional deadpan needle to authority figures taking themselves too seriously. It's PG-13, playful rather than barbed, more grin than guffaw, but a couple of those layered set pieces, one involving a disastrously over-engineered distraction, those swing for bigger laughs and connect. Importantly, the film maintains tonal consistency. When the stakes tick up, the comedy adjusts. never evaporates. And that's a testament to the movie's confidence. Like it knows what it is, and it wears that label proudly. You see this in the finale too. The climax of the film is a heist, both literally and narratively, and it threads that needle beautifully, allowing Murphy to riff without puncturing tension. It's a set piece that balances both the physical comedy and the emotional stakes. It pays off the narrative threads, and it culminates in a reveal that's clever, because we realize we've been given the pieces all along. I mentioned earlier that this is the kind of movie that feels like a throwback, and that extends to the themes as well. The movie grapples with ideas of identity as performance. Everyone is play acting, criminals, cops, and civilians alike, and Murphy's gift for switching registers becomes the film's thesis. Survival is about selling a version of yourself convincingly. I also appreciate the way the film explores ideas of trust and competence. The caper hinges on who's earned trust versus who's borrowed it. Mistakes have consequences, but the film's moral universe is gentle. Smart, decent people get second chances. And finally, there's the value of restraint. The script nudges that sometimes the quieter move is the winning play, which is mirrored by the film's craft choices. It's a comedy with heart, intelligence, and style. It's a reminder that sometimes less is more, and that the quietest voice can often be the loudest. With that, let's wrap up our review of The Pickup. Overall, this is a solid, enjoyable caper comedy anchored by a terrific performance from Eddie Murphy. If you're looking for a fun, lighthearted movie to watch with the family, this is definitely worth checking out. The plot is engaging, the supporting cast is fantastic, and the direction is solid. The cinematography, editing, and music all come together to create a stylish, immersive experience. And the humor is clever and well-timed without being crass or offensive. Now, if you're looking for something more intense or thought-provoking, this might not be the movie for you. The Pickup isn't trying to push boundaries or challenge audiences. It's simply trying to entertain, and in that, it succeeds. I rate this movie 7.5 out of 10. It's a standout example of a well-crafted feel-good comedy that's perfect for a cozy night, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.